So meditation, you ever hear about meditating an hour every single day for an entire year? By the end of this video, you're going to learn some things about meditation that you don't know now. And among the things you learn, you might consider meditating every single day. And I want to start you off with a research paper that's going to introduce you to the default mode network. And I want to read you just a little snippet from here. You're more than welcome to read through all of this, but it's going to talk about psychological, ongoing task execution, unknown, unpracticed. But here's the main part. We aim at proposing an alternative to reasoning about the default mode network on long-standing cognitive theory. The present work adopts control theoretical perspectives of human agents faced with choice of the next actions guided by the outcomes to optimize behavioral performance. So we all know that there are specific actions and reactions in the universe that we can choose to take, but what can we do to actually optimize the way that our brain functions and not fall into those traps, aka dopamine-based traps? These outcomes can be really experienced, hypothetically imagined, or expected in the future. So think about, like, what do you expect your life to be like 5 years from now? Wouldn't it be nice if you can get your brain into a state that is going to guarantee that you're going to be where you want to be in 5 years with absolute no questions asked? Be pretty great, right? Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about here. So formally, we propose reinforcement and learning as a particular active framework for describing, containing, and quantifying the unknown function of underlying default mode network activity. So in this case, like, I used to be a mess, and if you meditate an hour every single day for an entire year, you might not be a mess at the end of it if you apply everything else from the homeostatic line. An intelligent agent improves the interactions with the environment by continuously updating its computation of value estimates and action predispositions through integration of feedback outcomes. So you ask yourself, how many times, like, this is some real feedback here, how many times have you done the same thing and it led you to a worse place, but people continue to do it? Like, how many times have you wanted to do something, you've never done it? How long do you think it's going to take you for you to trust yourself to do it? That's a big thing we've lost with ourselves. It's not trusting other people. It's trusting ourselves that we're actually able to do what we want to do. Because if you've built a feedback in your mind where you decide to go do something, but then you don't do it, you're learning to not trust yourself. So this, with their actions, modify the environment, and doing so partially determine their next stimuli, in particular stimuli that are necessary for triggering the next action. So think about that. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So if you literally have thought about doing something and you've convinced yourself out of it for whatever reason that you've convinced yourself out of doing something, you've created that feedback loop where you're literally never going to be able to act on your own thoughts. There are a lot of people in this world that are unable to act on their own thoughts. They say, I want to go do this, and then why didn't they go do it? There's no magic trick to this. So agents with other behavioral policies, therefore, same different distributors of action perception trajectories, and you can go look in this stuff if you want. So henceforth, control refers to the influence that an agent exerts by interacting with the environment to reach preferred states. To give you a feedback loop on this one, I go TikTok live almost every single day. Every once in a while, there's a random person that wanders in TikTok that says some sort of random negative thing. And I'm like, that sounds great. Hope you have a beautiful day. Sorry that you feel that way. Because my preferred state is to continue to help other people. And my non-preferred state is to interact with negative people who have some sort of problem that I can't solve because they're on their phone. And then when you look at the anxiety page, if you're watching this on the homeostasisdiet.com, you go to the mindset page, you learn about the anxiety, you learn about the balanced and unbalanced forces. So you're trying to create the laws of motion. You're trying to, be an object not at rest and not remain at rest and continue in a straight line that you choose to continue in, which is going to unbalance you. So I'm not going to go ahead and go into that too much. We're going to stay on topic with meditation here. But really what you're realizing is that the balancing and unbalancing in the life. Like, when you realize people that meditate, it's really hard to unbalance somebody who has a meditated mind. It's very easy to unbalance somebody who has a non-meditated mind. Like that anxiety response, the reaction versus the response. So our whole goal here is to go from a very reactive state, which could be considered maybe limbic stress, if you'd like to call it, to a more responsive state, to where we can control and guide the outcomes in our life accordingly. And this will be the last piece that I want you to look at. Please go through and read this yourself so you're educated on everything that is expressed in this paper. But without requiring explicit awareness, these offline processes may contribute to optimizing control of the organism in general. So think about how control you are, how much control you have over your own life. Like, do you have full control? Like, did you wake up today and do exactly what you know that you had to do to get to where you want to be? Or did you kind of do a bunch of things that may not have added it up to one specific goal? Like, you got to ask yourself, like, if I don't understand something that I need to understand because it is very important for my life to continue to improve, am I going to teach myself that? Myself back in the old days? Hell no. You weren't teaching me anything. I was going to continue to do self-destructive behaviors because I had no idea that there was a better option. I thought playing video games and eating garbage was life. And then you get older and you're like, whoa, that was terrible. Very, very horrible. So we formalize a policy matrix to capture the space of possible actions that the agent can perform on the environment given the current state. So like you can only apply to reality what you know how to apply to reality. Like there is no alternative. Like you're going to try to do your best, and your best is the peak of what you know. Like if you genuinely don't know something, you just can't do it. Like there is no, oh, I got it wrong. There's maybe you didn't have enough information before you decided to act. And that's where you read all the books, because that's the information that's going to allow you to take the steps in the right direction. And when you choose to act, you already know why you're doing what you're doing and where it's going to take you. You're going to be able to forecast your actions and the reactions and where they're going to take you 5 years from now. So the value function maps environmental objects and events, the expected reward outcomes. So like my expected outcome from this video is that you watch it, you hopefully become motivated to start meditating and changing your life. I don't look for anything from this. I completely try to act off reciprocity due to the fact that a majority of the information that I've had to figure out on my own, I realized a lot of people out there don't try to quantify it and say, yo, wake up, start meditating, stop watching Netflix. You're not gaining anything from that. So switching between states reduces the sequential processing model. So like when you're switching between like control and not control, you're literally not even aware when it happens. So think about breathing, for instance. How many breaths have you taken since you started listening to this? I couldn't even tell you how many times I've taken breaths or blinked, but breathing becomes a subconscious mechanic that you can learn to consciously control. So informed by outcomes of performed actions, neuronal computation reflects in default mode network dynamics can be constantly shaped by the prediction error through feedback loops. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. I now have enough information about the world that I want to be creating that there are no errors that are going to happen. I could probably think that the only error that could happen is I spell a word wrong, or maybe I say a sentence. But outside of those errors, when you start to recognize if you suffer in a financial area and that's a default mode that you have in your brain is to create suffering in your finances, you will create suffering in your finances. If you have a default mode that creates suffering in your relationships, you will find suffering in your relationships. It is literally impossible to not find problems. You're looking for them. And that's the insane part when you realize that all of these processes in your brain that you're creating, you're looking for, you're the problem. Like, I wish I would have known I was the problem. I would have stopped trying to blame everything else going on around me. Oh, it's just my brain causing problems. That's great. That's no fun. So the present computation account of the default mode network function will be described as a mathematical framework. This is the math. This is the space you're in. You go to the energy that you have that explains the mass in the universe. You're looking at the laws of motion. You're looking at the observer effect from Einstein. All of this stuff, you are literally the universe experiencing itself. You're experiencing the universe. You explain what it is. Try to think outside of the thoughts called positive, negative, and neutral. Best of luck there. So check out this research paper to start. I need you to be fully educated on the default mode network if you are going to convince yourself into meditation. Some people like me, I read one of these and it said, okay, default mode network, about 45 minutes. I'm going to meditate an hour every single day for an entire year. Packed up my laptop, put it behind my thing and said, and for the longest time, you'd hear some sounds. You'd hear a girl laughing. That's whenever I was like, girl laughing? Oh, is she cute? Nobody is good at meditation at first. But if you learn to sit down, like think about this. Think about this. It's hard for some people to just sit there and do nothing. Like their brain is in this pattern where it constantly has to be doing something. So like just really, really, really look at yourself as a compare and contrast. Like where am I at in my life right now? I can't even sit down and do nothing for an hour. Like my brain has to be doing something. So that's a very fun little feedback loop for you to find out whether or not you can actually do it or you convince yourself into not being able to do it. Because the feedback that I get is, oh, I can't do an hour. I'm going to do 3 minutes. And then all I'd like to personally highlight right here is that females exhibit stronger than men. So women have more control over their brains than men. Ha! Yeah, I wish I would have known that when I was younger. And then as always, y'all know I love to just do basic Googles for you. So the inactivity of the default mode network right here, we'll just do the search. Its inactivity appears to be related to various forms of mental illness. And then the activity with menu processing and introspection is very important. So when we're constantly doing goal-oriented tasks, our default mode network is not as active as it could be. So meditating alone is going to help you through mental illnesses. Ain't that some shit? So now, obviously, I don't expect you to meditate for 10 to 12 hours per day, but if you've ever gone on a meditation retreat, you are literally spending like all of your day doing nothing but meditating and then talking amongst each other about your thoughts that you have. But right here, so this is why I always say meditate an hour every single day for an entire year, because at least 45 minutes should be done. If you can do longer than 45 minutes, then congratulations, your brain and reality are going to change so much faster than the person that thinks meditating for 15 minutes is how this works. All right, so we're back on the whiteboard over here, and I'm going to give you my meditation pattern, like what I did for an entire year every single day once I learned about meditation. And if you think meditating for an hour is insane crazy, that I really don't know what to tell you, maybe find somebody else that's going to tell you to, do it for 15 minutes. I don't really believe in any of that stuff. I know about 26 days into my meditation, I found Zen and never stressed again. Like, I literally haven't gotten angry since. And it's weird because I used to always get angry. Like, I was the first person to get super pissed off and mad. And then after meditating, I just, never felt it ever again. So what you need to learn about, there's beta and alpha brainwaves. These are the brainwaves that we function on a daily basis inside of. And then we have our theta and our delta brainwaves. So throughout your day, right, in the morning, you're going to be in beta and alpha. You're coming out of your theta. People tell you to meditate in the morning. No. You need to meditate right in the middle of your day. Right in the middle of the day, your brain's going to be the most active. And this is where if you're following the 20-page PDF that we have in the Homeostatic Line, you're not eating lunch. You're fasting. So now where you would originally been spending an hour going and, getting in your car, driving somewhere, buying food, eating, driving back, their hour is gone. Now you can simply sit down and meditate by a tree and be called a weirdo by your coworkers. And then you recognize that you're not meant to be working where you are for the rest of your life. Unless you're really happy where you are, then stay there, have fun. But meditating in the middle of your day is essential because your brain's going to be most active right here. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dropping it down into its theta and delta brainwaves. And then right here, we're bringing it back up. And then once again, during bedtime, we drop it back down. So instead of having one time that our brain goes into its restful state, default mode network, we have 2 times that our brain goes into that state. Now, I can tell you at first, when you start meditating, you're going to nod. You're going to be doing this stuff. There's going to be a link to the YouTube for me meditating with you for an hour, and you will watch me in this video, assuming I don't think you should watch it for an hour. You should just do it with me. Just sit there, sit up straight, focus on your breathing, close your eyes and relax. Let your mind wander. Mind wandering is not a bad thing. Your thoughts can't hurt you. I've talked to people before that were like, I can't meditate, I start to freak out. Okay, great, try again. Oh, you freaked out again? Okay, great, try again. Okay, great, try again. Try again, try again, try again. Try again and 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 again until you get it. There's no excuse to give up on yourself. If something is truly beneficial for you, why would you give up on yourself? This is why we were talking about the default mode network earlier with our patterns and behaviors. If we have not been doing the things that we have wanted to do for ourselves for so long, we've lost trust with ourselves. And when we lose trust with ourselves, no duh, you're going to give up because you failed at meditation for a couple days and you have anxiety and you feel bad and you think you're stupid and you can't do it. I went through all of the feeling like a dum-dum. I was a freaking dum-dum. So trust me, I didn't have to feel like I was stupid. I was stupid. So meditating right in the middle of your day is absolutely ideal for this process. Hey, look, a smiley face. You know what's better than real research? Randomized controlled trials of meditation and mindfulness and general anxiety disorder, effects on meditation and stress reactivity. You're a stressful person, maybe, huh? Yeah, I used to be. I used to stress everyone else out, including myself. So this is obviously from 2013. This is obviously from 2019. Sorry, it was 2020, it's 2019 over here. But what I want you to do, okay, I want you to go with a basic Google right here. And then I want you to go read for the next, I don't know, month, maybe week, maybe the next 10 hours, however long you think you need to read to thoroughly convince yourself that meditating is going to be one of the most amazing things that you introduce to your life. So check it out right here. We got randomized controls trial studies over here. I haven't read this one. I just pulled this one up randomly just because I was like, maybe there's something inside of here that would actually make sense. But it says, does not significantly differ, endpoints. So this is randomized control trial studies. I don't know how long they've been doing this. So it's like general anxiety disorder, characterized by symptoms such as poor sleep, muscle tension, irritability, which a lot of people are irritable when they don't sleep. So I don't know how this is going into thing. Then it says relatively common with life prevalence of about 5% So what is this? What is this one even going on about? Hang on, let me actually look through this really quickly before I waste both of our time. So this one's going to be 10 times better to start with because it's going to make a little bit more sense and it's frontiers in psychology, so hell yeah. The study examined the effects of mindfulness on depression and anxiety, both direct and indirect through the meditation of 4 mechanics of emotional regulation. So worry, which people worry about things. Like worry is this, I'm worrying about stuff that hasn't happened. Like if you're actively worrying, like you're walking on a tightrope and you could fall off that tightrope and die, that's a good thing to worry about. But if you're worrying about getting a bad grade on a test when you haven't even taken the test, that's bad. You're living outside of time. And I don't know how human beings do that, but we convince ourselves to worry about things that are outside of our present moment, which is scary. Rumination. Oh, hey, we're ruminating about that test that we're going to worry about. Reprisal and suppression. Oh, no, we're worrying and ruminating about the bad grade that we're going to get on the test that we haven't even taken yet. So path analysis was applied to data collection from international and non-clinical samples of 1,151 adults, including both meditators and non-meditators, which is huge. You always want to have some sort of sample behind people that eat McDonald's and don't eat McDonald's, something like that. Like if you don't meditate, you might as well just eat McDonald's. I'm kidding. Don't eat McDonald's if you don't meditate. Don't just do the 2 worst things you could possibly do in your life, which is eat McDonald's and not meditate. Moving on. Who completed online questionnaire battery. Our results showed that mindfulness are related to lower levels of depression and anxiety, both directly and indirectly. Suppression, reprisal, worry, and rumination all acted as significant mediators of the relationship between mindfulness and depression. And the whole goal of all of these videos is at the very bottom, you're going to watch me reverse engineer a research paper that I studied for 2 years. So I'm thoroughly educating you on all of these topics because I'm trying to get you on the same page. So when I go talk all confusing science, it's all just going to make super tons of sense. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I get that. Oh, I can see how that works. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because it's kind of like information overload. You can condense 2 years of psychosis into literally 23 minutes where you're like, this is insane crazy. And I thought it was crazy for the longest time. And when you see that wall, it's going to look crazy. And when I would have a friend come over, they're like, bro, what is this? And I'm like, just don't worry about it. It's just this thing I'm doing. It was really weird. Anyways, a similar picture emerged for the relationship between mindfulness and anxiety, with the difference in the suppression was not a mediator. So anxiety running rampant. You're just like, I have so many problems and I don't know where to start with them. Well, you can start with meditating and thinking about those problems that you have so you can find solutions for them. Our data also revealed that the estimated number of the hours of mindfulness meditation practice did not affect depression or anxiety directly, but did reduce these indirectly by increasing mindfulness. So this is where you can find out that the hours of meditation, so you're going to find conflicting research out there that like this matters, this doesn't matter. Hour a day every single day for an entire year, guarantee your life changes in the first couple months. Guarantee. If you're listening to the subconscious affirmations, if you're meditating, if you're playing the timer to breathe air, to reprogram, to be able to pay attention that you're not running off your subconscious scripts, that might suck. We're going to get good real fast. Worry and rumination provides the most potent mediating variables. So, like, a lot of people worry and a lot of people ruminate about the things that they're worrying about. Like, I can't tell you how much stuff I used to stress over that just, like, now I'm older and I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I remember literally losing a brand new phone that I got. It, like, fell out of my pocket somewhere and I lost it. And I was like, okay. And then I was concerned because I'm like, whoa. Is that healthy that I'm, like, not worried at all that I just lost a brand new phone that I paid $1,000 for? You know, you be the judge of that one. But it's kind of nice to just, like, have bad things happen. And then your reaction to them is, well, just another thing happened in the universe, and it's going to be totally okay. A little bit of time will pass, and then we'll be in a new space, and we'll have possibly maybe new problems. I'm serious. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I had to take a second and be like, why am I not worried about this at all? And then people that I used to know, they're like, you're not, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's okay. Like, whenever, I'll tell you a personal example of this and where it's, like, really kicked in. Like, last person that was in my life, I had to get rid of them out of my life. They slashed both of my tires on my car and shattered my windshield. And then when I went out to my car and I saw it, I was like, oh, huh. I was like, well, that sucks. And then I immediately went to the most logical route, was like, well, I needed a windshield and get my car fixed. So just called the shop down the street and said, hey, you guys tow cars or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then they came and grabbed it. It was $1,800. And I went, yeah, here you go. Have a great day. Because I wasn't concerned about money anymore. So, like, I used to worry and ruminate about not having money. Like, I sucked at it. And then when you don't suck at it anymore, congratulations. Join the Homeostatic Line. Make like 5 figures a month in your first couple months. Super simple, easy. Haha, hashtag join the reset button program. Anyways, moving on. Although the results confirm the emotional regulation play a significant mediating role between mindfulness and symptoms of depression and anxiety in the general population, and suggest that meditation focusing on reducing worry and rumination may be especially useful in reducing the risk of developing clinical depression. So think about this, right? If you've got a problem in your life, it can be solved. And you know who's going to solve it? You. It might be hiring a coach for you to work with. It might be you reading a book. It might be you literally continuing down the road of that problem until you hit rock bottom and you're like, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to solve my problem now. And then it might be reading the book, or maybe reading the research, or maybe reading the book and the research, or maybe taking advantage of all of the free resources that we have on this website. All I can tell you is this. If you decide to meditate an hour every single day for an entire year, which is only 1 year of your life, you will see significant changes in the way that you live your life. Utterly insane, where you used to react to something, you now respond to it. And if you combine this with the self-love affirmations when you sleep at night, you will literally recognize, at least for myself, talking from a personal perspective, how every single person that I was friends with had this insane, reactive, dopamine-fixed mind where it was just like, huh. Like where something, like somebody sitting there going like just pounding on something, and they're like, does that stress you out? And they're like, yeah, man, can you stop? And you're like, oh, it's not stressful at all. Or when a fire truck goes by, what the hell am I going to do with the fire truck driving by? I'm going to take advantage and find out how many people are distracted. So sitting in a coffee shop, doors over here, fire truck going by, making loud noises. I wonder how many people are distracted. You look this way, everybody's head's firing over there, except for the people with the headphones on that clearly couldn't hear it. And you're like, dang. So people just respond to random things out of just the fact that that's what they've always done. So take away from this video, meditate an hour every single day for an entire year. Consider following the 20-page paper that gives you a day-by-day outline. Listen to the subconscious affirmations when you sleep at night. Set the timer to remind yourself to breathe air. And then meditation is as simple as this. Hey, Bigsby, set a timer for 1 hour.
I'll start your timer for 1 hour.
There you go. I'm obviously not going to meditate for an hour. You can watch a YouTube video of me meditating for an hour, but the fun part is when you're consciously breathing and you lose awareness of your own breathing. So, hope you enjoy. Your head's going to fall a couple times. You're going to be like, whoa, I've fallen asleep. Yeah, whoa, I've fallen asleep again. Whoa, I've fallen asleep again. Enjoy meditation. It's going to change your life, and I will see you in the next video. And if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to click the buttons down below, the like button, the bell button, the subscribe button, comment below on some videos that you'd like me to do, some research, maybe you want me to shift through like a nerd, because I will. See you in the next video. Have a beautiful day.